6:30 to open the Select Board meeting of January 29th, 2024. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to open the Select Board meeting for January 29th.
And I'd like to make sure that everyone understands that this meeting is being taped by Marshfield Community Media. And now, if everyone would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next section this evening, here's Chairman's comments. I do have a prepared statement for this evening. Over the past few days, there's been a significant number of posts on social media. The board understands in the absence of factual information, speculation, misleading statements, and information can become the norm. The board welcomes public participation and commitment and would like to take this opportunity to provide as much factual information to the public as legally possible. This is to protect the legal rights of all involved. Please be patient and understand the Select Board must protect the town from potential legal actions and the legal rights of both the complainant and the affected employee. First, the board would like to address the timelines and cause. The issue of concern was not, I repeat, a result of any action, decision, or accusation by the Select Board, town administrator, or legal counsel. It is a result of a complaint. Though it is correct that the Select Board has oversight responsibilities for these types of issues, and I want to reiterate this again, this was not a result of any action, decision, or accusation by the Select Board, town administrator, or legal counsel. This was simply the Select Board received a complaint, and the Select Board, by Commonwealth law, needs to act upon it. This is the first time the Select Board became in this situation was on Saturday afternoon. Again, the Select Board had no knowledge of this complaint till Saturday afternoon, and when we basically became aware of this issue at the same time posts began to appear. There's been a significant amount of speculation and misinformation on the schedule of a meeting and the type of meeting to be held. Information was incorrectly posted on social media. The executive session scheduled for this evening is only to address the posted issue. Any comments or posting on social media to the contrary are absolutely incorrect. The executive session scheduled for this evening, which we will have, was previously requested and posted as an update to the Select Board regarding the ongoing labor contract negotiations. Nothing else was scheduled, nor was anything else to be discussed, and postings and comments to the contrary are factually inaccurate. Thus, despite a significant number of comments and posts that this meeting was moved from Monday to Wednesday, nothing has been moved because there was nothing else except this executive session for a contract update scheduled for this evening. So nothing was moved. It was solely and only for a contract update. Any new items for the Select Board discussion and consideration must be posted in compliance with Commonwealth Open Meeting Law. It is very disappointing that individuals that should have knowledge of this requirement and help the public understand didn't, and repeatedly posted and commented that the meeting would be held on Monday and inferred it was a result of some Select Board action. The board will not speculate on their motivations, but clearly there were individuals that should have and could have known better, but didn't, and only caused more concern and division within our town. This is saddening to me, and regardless of your perspective, their actions should be a concern of the citizens due to lack of knowledge or their motivation. The open meeting versus executive session. In accordance with the public meeting law, a meeting was scheduled, not moved again, for this Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. It is normal and customary with complaints such as this both in the public and private sectors, to conduct such meetings in private or executive session. This scheduling was done solely to protect the legal rights of both parties and not for, as a number of posts have stated, to do things behind closed doors. It is scheduled in this manner to protect the town, the complainant, and the affected employee as to their legal rights and privacy. To be clear, despite all stated in social media and letters sent to the Select Board, that anyone has requested of the Select Board in writing that this meeting should be held in public and claim they have knowledge of such is incorrect. The executive session is not to keep anything from the public. Rather, it is to protect the privacy and rights of all involved. Again, it is disappointing concerning that individuals, not the general public, mind you, individuals that should have known these basic principles chose to continue to mislead the public with more misinformation. The final decision as to whether the meeting should be held in public or an executive session resides with the affected employee. Again, to clarify, it is normal and customary to hold such meetings in executive session to respect their privacy and rights. Thus, the board scheduled Wednesday evening as an executive session. The Select Board has reached out to the affected employee today, January 29th, inquiring if they prefer an open meeting or a private executive session, and to notify if possible the Select Board in writing of the decision. Despite significant amounts of speculation and misleading information in social media as to the motivations of the Select Board, the affected employee has the right for a private meeting. All comments in social media that the Select Board has written a request in writing for an open meeting are factually incorrect. Again, it is saddening that those who have knowledge on the actual legal facts make repeated statements on social media as if they have information that the Select Board doesn't even have and possess. And then they jump to wild conclusions. Please allow the proper legal process to proceed, protecting the rights of all involved and their personal choice of an open or private nature matter. In conclusion here, next steps, as required by law, the Select Board has posted and scheduled a meeting for this Wednesday evening as a normal and customary to protect the town, the participants. It is scheduled as an executive session. Unless the board receives, we prefer a written request from the affected employee that the meeting could be held publicly. We will uphold this right at any time before the commencement of the meeting. During this meeting, whether it's public or executive session, it will be the first time this board hears the details of this complaint. And we've made a concerned effort to make sure we waited to hear it all at the same time. The board understands that this is of great public interest, but asks the public to allow those involved to make decisions that are best for them personally and they respect their opinions. As a follow-up to this, when I came in about an hour and a half or so ago, I was informed and I learned that Chief Simpson has retained a private attorney and that they have requested that he have a private hearing, an executive session, exactly how the Select Board had scheduled this meeting. And it will be for this Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. And sorry for the length of that, but there was quite a bit to clear up as a result of what happened over the weekend. And I would now, if I could, go to the Town Administrator's report.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Call into WATD to review the Select Board meeting and current issues at hand. I had a meeting regarding grad night grant sent to the town by DESI and the process to get access to the funds for grad night live, folks. Meeting with Lynn Fiddler to review the FY25 budget. Had a meeting with Greg Guimont, Leslie Fields, Rod Procaccino regarding the Marshfield Duxbury Beach Nourishment Project, regarding the additional material and process they have the available funds, $639,000, committed to the remainder of the 18,575,000 cubic yards of material to be spread on the beaches. And as folks know, anyone that goes down there and looks, they see the sand and it's doing exactly how it's supposed to be. The ebb and flow of the tide, it goes out and comes back, and you can tell it's coming back because you can look and see it in the water, in the sand, under the water, and hopefully it continues to work that well. Meeting with Fred Russell, Tony Bullock, our facilities team, and Carol Hamilton, the head of the senior center, regarding additional cleaning required at the senior center because of the new bathrooms and additional rooms that have been added. We have also increased the cleaning requirements for the new police station. Had a meeting with Sean Strobel, our treasurer collector, regarding the FY23 closeout and free cash certification by the Commonwealth. We're very close to filing with the DOR this week. Participated in a meeting with Chief Tavares, Harbor Master DeMayo, regarding some issues with dredging of the federal area of the harbor. Town's portion of the dredge has been completed by AGM. Town is working with U.S. Senator Markey's office, Congressman Keating's office, and our state delegation, get the Army Corps of Engineers to extend the dredge in the federal portion to allow the dredging company Burnham to dispose of the dredge materials at the near disposal site outside the harbor entrance, about a third of the mile off the harbor entrance. The chief, the harbor master, and I will be on a Zoom call tomorrow afternoon regarding this very issue. Meeting with Danielle Kerrigan regarding a personnel issue and a personnel improvement plan referred to as a PIP for one of our employees. Participated in the Marshfield Housing Trust meeting where we discussed issues with one of our MHOP recipients, reviewed previous minutes, training session with the Massachusetts Housing Trust, and talked about attending the lecture by Housing Secretary Ed Augustus in Brockton next week. Attended the Marshfield Chamber of Commerce annual meeting where the chamber presented the town with a check, $5,000 for police and beaches. Lara Brait, the executive director, has continued to expand the reach and service of the chamber for its membership and stewardship in the town of Marshfield. Participated as a member in the Revolutionary War Committee regarding the recognition of those Minutemen from Marshfield that served our country during the Revolution. The committee has spent the last 2 years researching the names and verifying the service through 5 dedicated sites. The names will be engraved on an obelisk, and the unveiling will take place. People should mark their calendars, April 19, 2026, for the 250th anniversary. Participated in the opening of the pest control bid with Fred Russell, our facility director, and secured pest control was selected. Had a lunch meeting with Chair Kilcoyne to review budget issues, timelines, capital budget, and other town-related issues. Meeting with Fred Russell, facility director, and Tony Bullock, ongoing maintenance issues of town buildings, photovoltaic projects, DPW project, police project, town hall, and design for the fire department's new locker room design for both women and men facilities, and cost estimates. We expect to have the final design and cost hopefully later this week. Participated in a meeting with Greg Emon and Lynn to review some planning issues regarding the MBTA proposed district for housing. Met with Dan Smith of Smith & Sons and Andrew Stewart regarding some zoning issues regarding what type of items can be sold at that location to be in conformity with the regulations. And site plan, meeting with the Anne Marie Senate regarding some assessing issues and the opportunity to put in place for FY26 next year a new program to assist Gold Star households. And meeting with Fred and Tony in the building to look at the building department's new office renovations. Town clerk and staff are back in the newly renovated office, and IT is now in this new space where the town accountant used to be. And finally, had a meeting with Danielle and Chief Simpson on a personnel matter this afternoon. And that is my town administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. I would like to advise everyone that there will be an executive session this evening as planned. We'll do it at the end of the meeting, and then we will not return to public hearings, public meeting. 6:35, we're past that, so we have our first item. Molly Nunes, this is a dog hearing. Let me read the Okay, so this is a notice of public hearing before the Select Board, dangerous nuisance dog pursuant to Massachusetts General Law 140 and 157. Ms. Nunes, please be advised in accordance with the provisions of Massachusetts General Law 140 and 157. The Town of Marshfield Select Board, in their capacity as hearing authority for the Town of Marshfield, will conduct a public hearing on Monday, January 29th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in the Select Board Chamber on the second floor of Town Hall, 870 Moraine Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts, on a report complaint received by the Select Board from the Marshfield Police Department, an animal control officer, that your dogs Otis and Oscar dangerous dogs by reason of vicious disposition and/or as a result of an incident on December 25th, 2023. You're advised of your right to attend the hearing, speak on your own behalf or through your legal representative, and present any witnesses or evidence to support your position in this matter. If you fail to attend the public hearing, the Select Board reserves the right to proceed in your absence. Make a determination in this matter and proceed with such other restrictions or measures necessary to prevent any further risk or injuries to person or pets. So that's the public hearing notice. I've read this through, and basically we have 2 dogs. They have an electric fence around the yard. I'll let you guys really explain it better. They've had multiple, it seems like, leash citations. They don't seem to be stopped by the electric fence. And on Christmas Day, the dog, I think it was the white one, did bite a neighbor's dog, Labrador Retriever. So that's kind of like the 50,000-foot overview. Okay, so Town Council, I guess you'll be administering any oath this evening, Ms. Town Council.
So will anybody that's going to testify raise your right hand and stand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The 4 people are you going to testify? All right, if anybody else there, I'll give another oath.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I have here basically a
Oh, let me I just want to give some
of course,
ground
sorry.
rules.
Yes.
Because of these are kind of unique hearings. I want to explain that this is not a trial, and the rules of evidence do not necessarily apply, and the right to question any witness will be at the discretion of the chair of the Select Board and must be directed through the chair of the Select Board. The chair of the Select Board explains that in this case will determine whether the dogs are owned and kept by Marlene Nunes, which is subject to the complaint of the town animal control officer, is a dangerous dog under Massachusetts General Law 140, Sections 136 and 157. Mass General Law 140-36, for those of you who are here, defines a dangerous dog as a dog that either, without justification, attacks a person or domestic animal causing physical injury or death, or 2, behaves in a manner that a reasonable person would believe possesses an unjustified imminent threat of physical injury or death to a person or to a domestic or owned animal. A dangerous dog is also one that is accustomed to attack and injure mankind and/or a dog possessing a general propensity to be vicious to others. Just so you understand, for a dog not to be considered dangerous, it's not barking, it's not growling, it is not based on their breed, it's not based on whether the dog's reacting to another animal or person, and the dog's reaction is not disproportionately inappropriate in the circumstances. If the dog was protecting or defending itself, its offspring, or domestic animal, or a person from an assault or attack, and not considered dangerous for a person who was attacked and threatened by the dog was committing a crime upon the property or person of the owner or keeper of the dog. Also, the person attacked or threatened by the dog was engaged in teasing or tormenting the dog or battering the dog, assaulting or injuring or otherwise provoking the dog. And also, at the time of the attack or threat, the person or animal that was attacked or threatened by the dog had breached an enclosure or structure in which the dog was kept apart from the public, and such person or animal was not authorized by the owner of the premises to be within such enclosure, including but not limited to a gated or fenced-in area, closed, locked, or unlocked, and provided that the person is under 7 years of age, it will be rebuttable presumption that the person under 7 was not committing a crime, provoking the dog, or trespassing. So now, I'm sorry to interrupt you before. Would you be kind enough to present
Yes.
the situation on the dog here, please? Two
Yes,
dogs?
so I basically have here a summary of all of the calls, all of the times that we went out to 174 Cedar Acres Road. So it starts on 10/27/22. Robert Bailey reports that the two dogs residing at 174 Cedar Acres Road were loose this morning, and one of the dogs almost attacked his dog in his yard. Dogs are owned by Marley Nunes and are licensed and up to date on rabies vaccines. ACO to investigate and issue leash law citations for this incident. ACO attempted to make contact with owner, nobody home at this time, left a hang tag on the door. ACO went out to the residence again on 10/31/22 with negative results. Messages have been left for both Marley Nunes and Andrew Fife. 2 leash law citations issued, and will continue to try to make contact with dog owners regarding this incident. Next, on 11/2/22, refused caller states that the dogs from 174 Cedar Acres Road is loose in the road again. When I arrived, a white pit bull mix was loose in front of that address. The dog was wearing an electric fence collar and would not cross the fence line to go back into the yard. I knocked multiple times on the front door, and after about 10 minutes, Andrew Fife walked out and got the dog. I stated that I had just issued 2 leash law citations and have been trying to get in touch with them. Andrew stated that he would resolve this issue. On 6/15/23, refused caller reports that the dog from 174 Cedar Acres Road came off its property yesterday and charged them and their dog. This has been an ongoing issue. Dogs are owned by Marley Nunes and watched by her brother Andrew Fife. Spoke to Andrew about the issue, and he said he would be better about keeping the dogs in the yard. Citation issued. On 10/3/23, Susan Fleury reports that there are a couple of pit bulls running around the area of Cedar Acres Road. ACO Forbes reports that the 2 pit bulls residing at 174 Cedar Acres Road were running in the street and into the neighbors' yards when she arrived. She states that she was met by Andrew Fife while trying to get the dogs in the yard. He stated that he did not know how they got out. Leash law citations will be issued to Fife, as this has been an ongoing issue. On 12/25/23, Jessica Norris reports that 2 aggressive dogs are in the area and attacked her dog. ACO off duty at this time. Officer Clapp's report of this incident states the following. On Monday, December 25th, 2023, Officer Clapp was working in the 4 to midnight shift in full uniform. She was assigned to the north sector of town in marked cruiser 561. The officer in charge for the shift was Lieutenant Marcolini. The weather for the shift was mostly cloudy with temperatures in the 40s. At approximately 15:34 hours, she was dispatched to 94 Cedar Acres Road for the report of 2 aggressive dogs attacking another dog. Upon arrival, she spoke with Jessica Norris, who stated that she was taking her golden retriever out for a walk in the neighborhood, and 2 dogs came running out of the yard of 174 Cedar Acres Road and began attacking her dog. Jessica stated she typically tries to avoid walking past this house because the same 2 dogs have attacked other dogs in the past. Jessica stated her dog has an injured paw and face from the attack and that she would be going to the vet tomorrow. Jessica stated after the attack that she saw the dogs running towards children playing in the street and they were barking aggressively at the children. Jessica stated she was not bitten and no children were harmed by the dogs. Lieutenant Marcolini arrived and they went to 174 Cedar Acres Road to try to locate the dogs and their owner. They spoke with Marley Nunes, who stated that she owns both involved dogs and is aware that they are not friendly. Marley stated that she has an electric fence, but that it does not contain the 2 dogs. Marley stated that they are not well trained and she has had issues with them in the past. Marley stated the dogs go to Marshfield Animal Hospital and are up to date on their vaccinations. She advised Marley that she would be forwarding this information to myself, ACO Ellis, for a follow-up, and I was notified that day. I received the report from Officer Clapp and immediately placed the 2 dogs, Otis and Oscar, on a 10-day quarantine per Massachusetts state law for the biting of Jessica Norris' dog, Waffles. We were not sure at the time which dog had done the biting, so we put both the dogs on quarantine. Both the dogs were up to date on their rabies vaccines at that time of the incident. At this point, it has become clear that the owners of these dogs, Otis and Oscar, are not able to safely house, contain, or care for them. Marley Nunes and Andrew Fife were informed of their other options for containing their dog, such as runners or outdoor kennels, and they have made no effort to fix these ongoing issues. It should also be noted that various messages were left for Marley over this time period, and she has never made an effort to contact us. Stricter regulations need to be placed on these dogs in order to keep the public safe moving forward.
Thank you. I just want to let you know that under 140, Section 157, either dogs, both Otis or Oscar, determination must be by credible evidence and testimony. And credible evidence and testimony has both a quantitative and qualitative aspect to it, or component. Quantitatively, the evidence must prove specific factual support for each of the claims the complainant has made. And qualitatively, the evidence must be of a type on which a reasonable person could rely to conclude that there has been a violation. So with that said, are there any other people here that would like to speak that the dog is dangerous? Oh, we have a couple here in the back.
So just stand and raise your right hand. Speak. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. One more.
Okay. You guys stay there. Stay there.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know who would like to go first. I'll let you sort that out. And if you could just step up to the podium. By the way, just for the record, we do know your name and address.
Oh, Courtney Ellis, 12 Wareham Street, Middleborough, Mass.
Thank you very much. And the same for you, please.
Hi, I'm Jessica Norris from 94 Cedar Acres with the Golden Retriever Waffles that was attacked on Christmas. Do I just make a statement or?
Yes.
Okay. So I shared a letter with Officer Ellis that I just wanted to be clear that this isn't just about the attack on Christmas. This comes after multiple complaints from multiple people on the street, some of which are present today, some of which are on Zoom, and some of which are in full support. So it's not just about the one incident on Christmas, it's about the multiple that we just heard and about the multiple that we haven't even bothered to report. Both dogs, I have photos that I've taken of both dogs coming after me. They've come after me, they've come after my children, they've attacked my dog, they've come after my car. They are never within their electric fence, and I know the electric fence was, an initial solution, but it's clearly a solution that has never once worked. Our street is a small, quiet circle with lots of kids, lots of dog walkers. We're near the beach, so lots of joggers come by our street, and most of us, I think, walk the street in a big C to avoid that side of the road. I would never take my children over that side of the road anymore. They've come out not even near the home, but come out after my kids on their bikes down the street, so we avoid it at all costs. That particular day on Christmas, the only reason I walked by is because I hadn't seen the dogs for a while, and I clap and make a lot of noise before I go. There was silence, so we kept walking. I have a fluffy, passive golden retriever on a leash. I was walking on the other side of the street of the property, did not hear them, did not see them. They just came flying out of nowhere and jumped on his back. And I was screaming and screaming and screaming for help, and nobody came out on the street. And then those dogs went after, a little bit further up on the street, there was a Christmas gathering with a bunch of grandkids, and they went after the kids, and the adults grabbed the children and ran aside while the dogs took off towards summer. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't think there's anything even to discuss in terms of what considers a dangerous dog. They check every single one of the boxes that you mentioned previously. But like I said, that's just one example of multiple.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Should we kind of step up? Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Joyce Campbell. I live at 84 Cedar Acres Road, and it is such a sad story because we're all dog lovers, so to even have to tell on these dogs breaks our heart. But my husband and I have a golden retriever. We've walked the street. We didn't report it because we knew everybody else was, but the dogs came flying out as exactly like Jessica said, we just don't go down that side of the road. We bought this house because we love the neighborhood and we love walking our dogs around. Too many times, and I have pictures that I did not submit as well, that we're walking the dog and we're talking as nicely as we can, and they came out of their electric fence and just stood in the street and just wouldn't let us go by. They were vicious, they were mad, and my granddaughter won't go across the street anymore. She won't go down there. It's just really unfortunate. I think the whole it's safe to say the whole neighborhood is just afraid of the dogs, and we hope something can be done. We expect something to be done. And the only other thing I want to say is that we're really sorry for the dogs, and we hope that they can go to a good home and somebody could manage them, because it's not their fault. They should never be out in the front yard looking and being haunted by things that they can't go get. It's just foolish. So thank you for your time.
Welcome, thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Trudy Millar. I live at 58 Summer Street. I used to walk my dog, George, around Cedar Acres, which is right around our neighborhood. And there were 2 occasions where George and we walk there every day. And this was right after they got these pit bulls. And the first time we went by, we were fine. They came up, and they didn't seem to really come at us. But the following day, we went the same pattern, and they charged us. One stayed behind the invisible fence, but the other one went right through it. And George and I went to the opposite side of the street, and this aggressive dog kept following us and coming after us. And finally, I just turned around and confronted it and said, "Stop," and yelled at it. And he retreated, but then once we started walking again, he started coming after us again. So with that, we just ran but he kept coming. So at that point, I just stopped and stood still and just waited for whatever was going to come next, and nothing did. But honestly, I did not report it, but it is something that I've shared with our neighbors, and I have concerns about all of the children that are in the neighborhood. I think really there is a need here with these dogs for them to be properly trained or disciplined, and it just appears that's not happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Emily Bailey. I'm at 114 Cedar Acres Road. I have also seen multiple instances where the dogs have come out of the yard into the streets, taunting any car that comes by, anybody who's walking by. My husband, Robert Bailey, he's one of the ones in the comments before. Our dog was actually attacked once before that we didn't report either. And she was bit in the neck. There wasn't any sort of puncture marks, so we didn't report it. But again, I have an 8-year-old daughter, and we won't take our daughter on that side of the street anymore either. It's a scary place for us at this point, and it's really sad because it's a very sweet street. And we, like some others have said, we're all dog lovers here. And it's definitely turned the neighborhood into a different place. And again, it's a very sad situation for all of us. We all love dogs, but we truly hope something better can happen with these dogs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Is there anyone, I can't see that screen that well. Is there anyone on Zoom? Steve, you get young eyes.
Nope.
You see anyone? Okay. All right, thank you, sir. I'd like to ask Ms. Nunes if you'd like to, or your counsel, if you want, respond to the complaint. And
First of all, I would like to say, I am so sorry you were bothered, and I wished you had put a note in the mailbox or gave me a ring on the phone so that I could have corrected it. Now you've got my dogs on a death path.
Ms. Nunes, would you be kind enough to go to the
Yeah.
podium and give your
I
name
really am
and address
sorry.
for us, please?
That my dogs attacked multiple people, and no one told me. Animal control didn't tell me that. I got 3 tickets for breaching a fence, is what I got. And these people come out to talk about these monsters ripping their dogs apart. I have a phone. I've lived in this same neighborhood my whole life. My phone number, 834-8334. Nobody told me anything. And that's not fair to me, and that's not fair to my dogs, because now you have them on a death trip. Now, first of all, vicious disposition. It doesn't sound like anybody's actually had a puncture wound on their dog. My dogs are big dogs, they play rough. I didn't know they were bothering cars. I didn't know they were going back and forth across the fence. Besides the ticket that I got, this animal control, I have a license for my dog where my phone number's listed. My phone number's in the book, my cell's always on me. My brother has a landline in the house. There's no reason I wasn't contacted before this came to this. Now, I don't own a dog named Oscar. My dogs are named Otis and Bruno. I was given this quarantine. There's not even a name on it. I haven't even known who is the aggressive dog. This one says the white one, and then the other one here says the brown and white dog bit Jessica Norris's dog. And I'm really sorry, and if you have a vet bill, please give it to me. I have moved the dogs to the back, and I would have done that months ago if anybody, yeah, this neighborhood's not the same as it used to be. This neighborhood has gone to garbage when people don't even come over and talk. You know how many stray dogs I've brought home? I have brought home stray horses, even stray babies.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
At your discretion, Chair, I'd like to
Please,
speak.
proceed.
Ma'am, this is something you need to address to this select board. These folks are here on their own behalf. You are,
I'm sorry.
so I just want to give you the opportunity to bring it down a little bit.
Okay.
So that we all can be on a plane that we can all understand what you're trying to say, and that we can have a professional discussion over the best means to go through this.
Do you know how you feel
Just-
when
I,
you're
so.
left out of the loop
Yes.
and then
Well-
blamed and made to look like you're something you're not? My dogs were adopted. They rescue dogs. I have a folder for you. Their medical records. They're very well cared for, and they're very loving and kind animals. I just wanted you to know one is a Staffordshire Terrier and one is a Labrador. So this pit bull, it's just like throw this buzzword in here so you can really stereotype us. It's incredible. So, I got 3 tickets for breaching the fence, and then Jessica said her dog was bitten, yet has no puncture wounds.
Yes, it did, and I have a vet record to prove that.
Okay, then your dog was bitten, and all I have to figure out is which of my dogs.
So we want to make sure, so I can buttress the vice chair, that all comments go through the chair of the board and not back and forth.
Okay, well, I just need to know what happened. Nobody told me. They talked to me about making kennels and runs. No, they didn't. We have a run in the back, and we moved as soon as Christmas happened, and we heard about this. But that was the first I heard about my dog being aggressive towards anybody. How could you live in a street where you didn't talk to people when something went wrong? How could you be like that? Honest to God. So they're not pit bulls, there's no Oscar, they're young dogs, one's 2 and one's 3. And the other documents I gave you was just about what we had, all the work we had done to try and bring the fence up to par. And had I had known that it was being breached, I certainly would have taken the dogs out of it. I have an estimate here for another fence, a wooden fence. We have to wait till the spring, but to work on that. But these people are never going to have to worry about seeing us in the front yard again. Here's my dog sleeping with the cat. Here they are here.
So do you have any witnesses or documentary evidence to refute the claims of the officers?
Well, I'm just finding out what happened, and I can't argue with it. I do want to see her vet bill and pay it, because I feel terribly sorry. But I'm also, there's a lot of misinformation here. There's reports that weren't, the police report was just, the things about, I still don't know which dog bit. Which dog bit? Because they're both here on the death row. So which one bit?
So they're not here on death row, and the report that I had was the white dog That was
Okay,
what-
because
that-
the other,
that I read.
the quarantine was for the brown and white dog.
Yes, I think the officer already explained that reasoning, because they weren't totally sure. But, so, do you have anyone you brought with you that would like to give evidence to support you?
No, I just like to leave the file to show you all the work that I've done on the fence, and 3 dog tickets, that's all I got. And when I hear that last October, somebody complained that their dog was attacked, and no one told me, shame on you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask you some questions?
Yes, you
With
may.
your permission.
Yes,
Mr. Nunes, could you please go back to the podium?
yes, this is Selectman Darcy, he'd just like to ask a question. Thank you.
So, Ms. Nunes, you stated that you were unaware that your dog had bit another dog. Why do you think that they were quarantined?
No, at this point I see, but I didn't know which dog it was because she mixed up the names. There's no dog Oscar. And she said the brown and white dog was quarantined when it was the white dog that was apparently the biter. And I didn't know till this moment. I had no one tell me. I called dog officer phone line and said, please tell me who's under quarantine here. I never even got a call back.
Why do you think your dog was quarantined?
Which one? I have 2 dogs.
Either.
One bit and one didn't.
Okay, so you accept that one dog did bite,
That's what I just heard.
but you're saying you were unaware at the time?
I'm saying I didn't know which dog bit. Can I show you these papers?
So you accept that there was a bite, you just don't know which dog it was?
I'm hearing, yes, I believe what I hear. I mean, I'm not a belligerent person, but I've had, there's a lot of misinformation and miscommunication, and people are saying they tried to reach me when they didn't, and people are saying my dog was attacking all the time, and I have never been told about it. See, there's 2 different, and the police report says the white dog, and on this paper it says the brown dog.
Okay. Did you want to keep this?
I have the folder I just gave you with the same stuff.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to get loud, but these are my children you're talking about.
sure. Mr. Nunes, you also stated that you were unaware that your dogs were running through the electric fence. Why do you think you were given 3 leash law citations?
I got 3 leash law citations. I've got papers in there too where I was working with the trainer and we would beef up the collar. Every time the dog went through, we would change the configuration, the bandwidth on the fence. We got a really strong collar for them. And at this point, and we had to troubleshoot it. We didn't know, was the power off or something? So we didn't know why they were going through. I would have appreciated the help if somebody had told me my dog was going through routinely. And to hear that the dog control officer, last October, my dog attacked somebody and nobody told me. And I have a phone. I have a couple phones. And he answers the door all the time. So,
Sure, but you reconfigured the electric fence because you knew that the dogs were running through it.
I heard I got 3 dog tickets, so of course, and that started last October, so I knew, and I was trying to work on it, and we thought we had it. They haven't breached the fence, as far as I know, since last summer. Of course, ask the neighbors. They seem to know more about what my pets are doing than I am. Well, why didn't you ask me? I have a mailbox. You could have.
So, no,
And just finally, what work have you done with a dog trainer?
Just to try and beef up the fence. I mean, I didn't know. If I don't know a situation, how can I address it? They're not going out in the dog watch fence anymore. It's not working for them. They have runs in the back, and they're fine on those. They're happy. I just didn't know they were bothering people.
Have you tried any approaches beyond the electric fence?
Well, we were looking at building a chain link in the spring now that this has happened. But of course, you understand it's upsetting. They're very young animals and they're very nice animals. And basically, you're looking, these are 2. One came from a kill shelter and one came from his mother was in the kill shelter and they took her out and fostered and gave away the babies. So I mean, they don't need to go back there.
Right, and just to let you know, we're not considering putting down your dogs. We're just looking to safely confine them, so.
Thank you. I agree, and I plan on building a fence. Yeah, and I wish it was like in another town. But what can you do? This is where I was born.
All right, thank you.
could I just ask a further question? How long is the podium? And just for the record, I don't know if we got your full name and address.
I'm Marley Nunes from 174 Cedar Acres Road, Marshfield, Massachusetts.
Thank you very much. When did the chain link fence go in?
I don't have the dog watch fence.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean chain link. That's my
Yeah,
mistake. I
the
do
dog
apologize.
watch
Yeah, the
fence.
invisible fence, yeah.
Back in around 2003, I had a little Jack Russell, and she lived well in that her whole life. So I had the fence already there, and that's where I got the idea to help a couple of rescues. And I brought them, we've had them 2 years now. They were flown from North Carolina in a Pilots for Paws. They volunteered to help the rescue dogs. So they were kind enough to fly the dogs to the Marshfield Airport.
So the fence has been in since 2003,
Right,
and you've had the dogs since 22?
right.
24?
And we had to fix it up a little bit and, have them come out, have Dog Watch come out and train the dogs. One was a little old for training, and the other one, I was sick. I was in the hospital. I couldn't train him as well as I'd like, but, I didn't make the comments in the police report like, these are pit bulls and they get out all the
We
time.
disregard the breed, that's, I articulated that earlier, so I just want to make sure that you knew that component of it. So 22, the dog's been there about 2 years, the fence has been in there. How many times do you think you've actually made modifications to either the collar or the fence?
Well, I didn't really keep my checks. I didn't think I would ever need them,
Just
but
give me a guess.
there's a couple emails there.
Okay, we improved the,
Sir.
So, we'll let her speak. If you want to speak, we'll have you come up and give your name and address, sir, okay, please?
I think he remembers, because he does that handy work for me, and I'm just sorry that I didn't know that it wasn't
Okay, I was
effective.
just wondering if it was 10 or 2,
I think two, he said. We
that's close enough.
beefed up the collar, so there's one stronger collar they can get.
Yeah.
And we changed like the bandwidth on it so that it had a wider, that they had to run through if they wanted to get out of it. So, and I thought, I hadn't heard any complaints since the summer, so, and they're out all the time. I was just leaving them out all the time because nobody was complaining.
Okay.
They should have to call up the police to complain, right? You can't just ask somebody.
Oh, I'm sorry. Vice Chair, do you have any comments, questions?
I think I'm all set with her. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So,
it was loud.
thank you very much.
Thank
So, I think we've heard everyone
Chief.
out on Zoom. Chief, would you like to speak?
Sure. Counsel, could you swear me in?
you just swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Clearly, you can see that the neighbors are victims here, and they're tired of it. And the fact that we've been out to the house numerous times, and I'll just reinstate, on October 27th of '22, we left a hang tag. We went out to the residents again with negative results, and we left messages for both of them. The leash law citations were issued. On 11/2 of '22, we went out there. Andrew stated that he would resolve the issue. On June 15th of '23, which I believe is the last time she said she is aware of, we spoke with Andrew about the issue and said, he said he'd be better about keeping the dogs in the yard. Citation was issued. On October 23rd, we went back out there. Andrew stated he didn't know how they got out. Again, leash law citations were issued. Then in December, we went out again for the two aggressive dogs. And we tried to locate the dog owners. We spoke with Marlene Nunes, who stated she owns both involved dogs and is aware that they are not friendly. Marlene stated she has an electric fence, but it does not contain the two dogs. She stated they are not well-trained, and she has had issues with them in the past. And then lastly, the fact that I don't think you can play ignorant that they were never notified, and they didn't know that there was a problem with the dogs. The animal control officers left various messages for Marlene over a period of time, and she never made an effort to contact us. The dogs are definitely a major problem for that neighborhood, and if they're her babies, she should take better care of them because they could get hit by a car. Clearly, the electric fence doesn't work, and I don't even think a tether would work because I've seen dogs pull their heads out of the collar. So the dogs are a major problem.
Thank you, Chief.
May I ask the chief a question?
You may, Chief.
Officer. This is not an unusual circumstance. We, as a town and as a community, are constantly walking our dogs. We're engaging in our neighborhoods. And what I want to get from you is the information that the witnesses provided on other circumstances, that they didn't actually give a call to the animal control. And how does that, in your opinion, in your professional opinion, how does that hold weight in a circumstance like this? This particular dog owner is claiming that that's a non-issue because she didn't know about it. But obviously, based on their testimony, it is an issue.
A named
Can you help me
witness,
with this?
a named witness is inherently reliable. They're named witnesses, they swore under oath. The fact, what they came out with tonight tells me that these dogs are a bigger problem than we even thought they were.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
All right.
Can I just say, I take argument, I didn't say they weren't, I knew they weren't well-behaved and they got out all the time and they never tried to call me to tell me. They say they called me, that's nonsense. You didn't try and call me.
Okay.
You didn't try and call me. I'm not the type person who wouldn't respond.
I realize you're very emotional. I'm trying to give some latitude here as far as how this is supposed to work, because I know you're emotional about this, and, you know, they're your dogs. So right now, I'd like to just have a discussion amongst us. We're going to close the public portion of this hearing and a discussion between the select board. Lynn, do you have any thoughts you want to start off with?
I will start off by saying this particular case is unique from my standpoint, where I haven't sat in this seat I have sat in the seat for other dog hearings, but this one is a little bit different. So I'm trying to come to grips with the actual facts that were presented tonight, and I feel that the neighborhood is in dire straits, and we need to do something about it. So whether or not all of us can come to a conclusion on what that is, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it. But in my opinion, they're young dogs, but that doesn't mean they're not dangerous.
Sure.
Darcy?
Mr. Chairman, I think that the chain link fence would meet Section 2, which is a enclosed and secured area. So I think if we went in that direction, that would fit the bill.
Okay. There are options that we have to, if we find the dog is dangerous. So I think procedurally, that would be something we'd need to do, and then we would then make a determination on how to address that. There are some options within there. My feeling is, I know everyone loves the dogs, and dogs become part of the family, but dogs are also extended past your family into your neighborhood and interact with a lot of different people. And I believe I have multiple fairly credible evidence from the street that there are some issues with these dogs. Which one, it doesn't really matter to me. There are issues with the dogs, it's probably both of them. I did hear that they were rescue dogs, and I applaud Ms. Nunes for doing that. People that take care of these types of dogs, it's no fault of their own. I do not find it credible that the owner of the dog could not know their dogs are roaming the street. And I have heard multiple witnesses saying the dogs are roaming the street. So I don't find that credible. So I don't find it credible that she is unaware that the dogs are out. I think she did state she leaves the dogs out a lot during the day. And she also is aware that the fence doesn't work, so it kind of all adds up to me. Any other comments from the vice chair or
So,
clerk?
town council, the process that we would go through is to first identify if we're in agreement that the dog is dangerous, and then we go through our findings, is that correct?
Yeah, so two-step process. First, you have to make a finding of dangerous or not, and then you get into the disposition. And, you know, Mr. Darcy has already mentioned one of the options you have, but it sounds to me like that option might be a little bit out in the future, might take some time, so you're probably gonna need an interim option as well, assuming you find that it is, that the dogs are dangerous. And what we've done in the past is order the dogs confined on a leash when they're outside. If they're on the run in the rear and you get a little bit more information about that, perhaps that's also okay. But it sounds to me like, you know, the fencing is another option that you could take. Just looking. I don't know whether these dogs leave the property at any point, but as long as they're in the town of Marshfield, you may also want to invoke an option that the dogs have to be tethered on a leash with a minimal tensile strength so that the dogs cannot get loose when they're not on this property or in this neighborhood. And you always have the option of requiring proof of insurance if this problem doesn't abate. Those are your options. But one vote on the dangerousness issue, then second vote on the disposition of what you'd like to see imposed.
Thank you, Attorney Gilman. So I'd like to make a motion that, that this board finds that the dogs, and I know, make sure the record is corrected, Otis and Bruno are dangerous dogs, and I'd look for a second for that.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote in finding the dogs are dangerous. Otis and
Bruno.
Bruno, let's set that record. So now we move to the disposition portion of it. So we have 5 options here, basically. I'll go them very quickly. The dog is to be humanely restrained. They can't be tethered to a tree or something like that. The electronic fence is not working. We all have this in front of us. The dogs can be confined to the premises. It means that they're securely confined indoors or confined outdoors in a pen or a locked or run or something like that. There's specific criteria for that pen. So if you're thinking about going with a chain link fence, you might want to look at item number 2. That when the dogs remove the premises, the person keeping the dog shall securely keep them muzzled and restrained with chain or tethering device with a minimum tensile strength of 300 pounds and not exceeding 3 feet in length. The owner or the keeper of the dog shall have proof of insurance, not less than $100,000, insuring the dog against any claim or injury. That goes on regarding that. The owner or keeper of the dog to provide the licensing authority or animal control officer any information on the dog, such as identification, lifetime identification, photographs, videos, examinations, tattooing, microchips, something like that. And then the last here is the owner of the dog provides evidence that the veterinarian, in the opinion of the dog, are unfit for alterations because of medical condition. The dogs shall cause the dogs to be altered, so the dog shall not be reproductive. Vice Chair or Clerk Darcy, would you like to start off with what you think? Are you still sticking with, you think the best approach right now is number 2, which is to make sure they're confined securely indoors, and when they're outdoors, they're enclosed in a lock pen, a dog run upon the premises?
I think both 1 and 2 would work. 2 seems like the long-term solution, but as Attorney Galvin mentioned, it's going to happen in the spring, so there's a little bit of an interim solution that we need. So I would say both 1 and 2 would make sense.
Okay, so it's humanely restrained, is deemed dangerous, tethered, or otherwise tied, not to a inanimate object, but would be like a run.
Yep.
And then when they're kept indoors otherwise, and this defines the pen that they would be would be constructed in the future. Okay, thank you. Vice Chair? No, this is the closed part of the hearing, I'm sorry.
So, can I ask Steve?
Mhm.
Chair. So could we expand upon that into just reviewing Roman numeral 3? So 1, 2, 3, 4 was the insurance, 5, licensing authority, tattooing, microchip, implantations, blah, blah, blah.
And 6
Which
was
I don't
neutered.
And, yes, 6 was neutered, and 7, dogs be euthanized.
Euthanized.
Which I am not, at this point, in favor of.
So,
So I'm suggesting 1,
One.
as Steve,
yes,
2,
yeah,
3,
okay.
and I'd like to discuss number 4 in a little bit more detail.
Okay. Do you need some information maybe from Attorney Galvin on this, or you want a discussion, or?
I am unfamiliar with that and who that serves, so yes, please.
So as to item 4, I mean, we can't guarantee that these dogs are insurable. As a matter of fact, anybody that owns a dog knows that there's a bunch of dogs you can't get an insurance policy at. So all you can ask this owner to do is to make reasonable efforts to obtain a policy of insurance for up to $100,000. So you can't actually require it. You can ask them to make reasonable efforts to try to obtain it, but may not be possible. Probably unlikely.
Thank you, Attorney Galvin.
Thank you.
Is that
Well, in
satisfactory?
light, yes, in light of that, if you can't enforce it, then I think that in this particular case, I would be willing to agree to 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I also agree with basically both of you. I agree, number 1, number 2, and I also agree that, I think when the dogs are off the premises, they should be muzzled and restrained on a chain no longer than 3 feet. So that means that when the dogs are removed from the premises of the owner or the premises of the person keeping the dogs, so anytime that dog is outside that property, they would have to be on a leash and muzzled. So I could go with 3 as well. Steve, is that something you could agree with?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then I'd like to make a motion that we did find the dog a dangerous dog, and our recommendations, our findings are that we're looking for item number 1, that the dogs would be humanely restrained, provided, however, that no order shall provide that the dog is deemed dangerous shall be chained, tethered, or otherwise tied to an inanimate object, including but not limited to a tree, post, or building. 2, that the dog will be confined to the premises of the keeper of the dog, provided, however, that confined shall mean securely confined indoors or confined outdoors in a securely enclosed, a locked pen, or dog run upon the premises of the owner or keeper, provided further that the dog or dog run shall have a secure roof, and such enclosure has no floor secured to the signs thereof, and the signs shall be embedded into the ground for not less than 2 feet, and provide further that within the confines of such pen, a dog run, the dog house, or proper shelter from the elements shall be provided to protect the dog. Number 3, when the dog is removed from the premises of the owner and the premises of the person keeping the dog, shall be securely and humanely muzzled and restrained with a chain or other tethering device having a tensile strength of 300 pounds, not exceeding 3 feet. The only issue that I might see here is that the owner has stated that they have a run. They don't meet criteria number 2. Could you help us out with that, Bob? Which is confined outdoors.
The way I understood the dog owner's testimony was they have a dog run. I think they could use the dog run until such time as the
So
fence goes
condition
in.
it for a date?
I would ask the dog owner if she could give you a date by which she would complete a fence,
Yeah.
and then make that a condition.
And any other time it's outside, that it is on the run.
Correct. The dog has to be
Anytime off
changed,
property, it's muzzled.
chained to the run. And then after that date passes, I would ask that the animal control officer be allowed to inspect to make sure that it's in compliance with your order.
Okay. Liz, would you be kind enough to step up? We don't need to reopen this, do we, Bob, for this? No, no, okay. So we just want, you heard what the finding of the board is, and so they're basically agreeing with you just, you know, that you're gonna build a confinement chain link fence. It does have to have some other criteria that I guess the Commonwealth of the town requires. What is a reasonable date that you feel you could fulfill having this chain link fence?
Bruno didn't even bite anyone, as far as I know.
Okay, so I'm really sorry. The board is, her testimony, we heard your testimony. The board deliberated, the board made a decision. And I'm sorry, the question that we're trying to ask you to give you some flexibility here, so the dogs don't have to stay inside.
They're okay inside, they're doing fine. This is the first we heard was
Okay, we used to.
Jessica.
So the question is, what reasonable date can you provide to this board that you can have the enclosure completed?
All this gobbledygook you just went through here about like configurations of a special pen and whatnot. I read the law a little bit. I mean, if we have to keep those dogs in a box with the muzzle on, you might as well euthanize them.
Mr. Chairman, I would
yes.
contend that we should set the date for May 1st.
Yeah, if you're not able to set a date, I concur with the clerk of the board, that the board will set a date for you. Vice Chair,
I
concur?
concur.
Do you send me a transcript or something? Because you went through a lot of regulations. Can we build our own
We'll be
fence?
more than happy to.
Like we were thinking, or do we have to do something that you like?
We'll be more than happy. Yes, you have to comply with the select board's decision.
Okay, I can't appeal this though, because Bruno, I don't even.
You always have a right to appeal.
Yeah, because I still don't even know, did that dog bite someone? And that's
Always
not
have-
fair
yes,
to
you
me.
always have the right to appeal.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So here we are. Oh, let's call this February. So all February, all March. You're saying it's 90 days is what you're saying?
May 1st.
All February, March, all April, yeah, 90 days. Are you okay with that? And if there's any, so I would like to make to add to the motion, that the board has requested that the enclosure, outside enclosure, is completed as per Section 2 by May 1st, and that on that date, the officers will go out and make sure that they are complying with the board's decision. And look for a second for that.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to adopt option 1, 2, and 3 with setting 90 days, and on May 1st, the animal control officer will inspect the premises.
So I think we've concluded that meeting. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, find my agenda here.
You good?
Yeah, I think we're at the decision vote on the policy update regarding the select board review process for documents. I think that's where we are. So this is a pretty standard document review policy that the
Yeah, it's just for 6 months.
chair recommended for enactment. The policy is basically intended that if you are bringing a major policy change in front of the board, that the board will discuss it in the first meeting, and the chair or representative of that board or committee would come in, explain to us what the changes are. They'd be provided to us in a red line fashion. And, oh, so we're missing, we'll do this one, red line fashion. And then, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. No, that's not your fault, that's fine. And contemplate the proposed changes at the second meeting, then they would then vote on the meeting. I don't know if you both had a chance to read this? We've got a lot going on here.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, I lose my train of thought. You've read it, Steve, have you had a chance to read it? Do you
Yes.
have any discussion points, any objections? Okay, then without that, I'd like to make, the board makes a motion to adopt a new policy entitled Document Review Policy as previously entitled to improve public visibility to the proposed document changes and adoption of the new and expanded policy for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to adopt a new policy entitled Document Review Policy.
And it is brought to my attention that I forgot one of the most important parts of this evening, because I went right to the red section, which is 645, we're way past that, which is the FY '25 budget. I notice we have the treasurer here, so sorry for that extra little delay. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
We're happy to be here. We're joined by the advisory board, both in person and in Zoom. And just to put it in context for the board, according to the charter, on the fourth Monday of January, the select board turns the annual budget over to the advisory board for them to begin their process. So I'm going to do a budget presentation for the advisory board, very similar to what we did last week. So if we could skip to the next slide. Okay, budgetary achievements and overview. The FY '25 budget will provide $1,673,368 in new revenue for the school department, a 3% increase overall. General government has increased by 5.31%, and we have maintained our workforce by repositioning resources to achieve this goal. We have accounted for COLAs and contracts in all divisions without using free cash. We continue our cost share agreement with the schools for the Human Resource Division. We have recommended an increase in public safety of $589,693 for over FY '24 to continue to provide the best resources for the police department, fire department, and ambulance services for our residents. We continue to fund Cemetery Trees and Greens ball field account by approximately $100,000, and have provided DPW with flexibility to move overtime costs around their various divisions. We have not reduced any senior or veteran services, and we continue to keep all municipal full-time and part-time positions funded at this time, all while managing continual increases in our pension costs, healthcare contributions, utility costs, gas and diesel fuel costs to run our town fleet. Next slide, please. Revenue explanation. Revenues are being recommended at 3.81% overall increase over FY '24 revenues. Our state aid figure is anticipated to be $18,657,095, or a 2.5% increase over FY '24's aid. Total revenue projected for fiscal '25 is $115,926,854, an increase of $4,257,897.45, or a 3.81% increase. Okay, on this slide, there's revenues, a couple of great pie charts. The treasurer did a great job of getting in. As soon as he was hired, he got to work on, as folks know, we've had some challenges with the fiscal '23 closeout. Sean's been working to get the fiscal '23 closeout, to get certified free cash, and to get the FY '23 budget, put together, and it's here now before. So I would be remiss if I didn't thank him for all of his hard work that he continues to do day out and day in, and on the weekends to get us to where we need to be. This chart represents in pie form. You'll see the chart on the, if you're looking at it on the left-hand side, total revenues on the right-hand side, and a breakout by type. Revenues increased, as I said, 3.81%, or $4,257,897.45. And you'll see by the color coordination in the pie chart, the pieces that are represented there. And then estimated revenues on the right side, total allowable levy, state aid, and other revenues. Next slide, please. Expense explanation. The town's department heads have put in requests for only what they truly need to keep providing services to our town during these challenging times while dealing with rising inflation, utility costs, fuel costs, pension costs, and healthcare. Centralized budget process we have allows the town administrator and the select board to have the flexibility to reposition resources based on the needs presented during the budget hearings. The town has overcome last year's challenges with the hiring of a new treasurer-collector, Sean Strobel, and through the process, there's been a wonderful collaboration between the department heads and staff. The treasurer-collector and I have met with all department heads and reviewed their financial requests needed to achieve the goals of the department for our residents. We have again not had to implement any layoffs or furloughs, as many of our neighbors have, thanks to the support and the recommendations of the select board. The following charts and department reviews will provide additional information. Total expenses projected for FY '25, $115,926,854, an increase of $3,697,608.99, or 3.29%. And once again, we have another pie chart, shows where everything's broken down, color coordinated with matches, whether it's pension, snow and ice, debt service, etc. Next page, please. Okay. Fixed cost summary for fiscal '25. You'll see debt service non-excluded for FY '25 is $3,079,829, and it sort of goes right down. Debt service excluded, $5,896,919. Excluded debt is when we go to the ballot box and vote on it. So, for instance, the high school and the major capital improvements that we made in the police, the DPW, the senior center, seawalls. Non-excluded is inside debt, operational, et cetera. And then you'll see general insurance and Medicare, $2,709,189. Pension, which is one of the big budget busters, $9,127,811. Employee health and life insurance, $8,634,810. Another budget buster. Unemployment's $50,000. We have that low rate because we have very low unemployment. Facilities, $380,272. Audit, OPEB, and payroll charges, $173,000. Reserve fund, $100,000. Overlay, $500,000. State and county assessments, $1,403,952. In town meeting appropriations, $91,188. For total fixed costs projected over FY '24, $1,233,729, or 3.99%. Next slide, please. Debt management. Capital funds appropriated by borrowing or any other financing source may not be used for operational expenditures in any capacity. Town makes certain that these funds are kept separate and only used for the project for which it was appropriated by town meeting. The finance team, with guidance from the board, has a policy that does not allow inside debt costs to exceed 5% of our operating budget in total, nor excluded debt to exceed 10% of our operating budget in total. We have achieved both of these goals. In total, debt service has been reduced by $113,353.36 due to interest reduction because the debt is being paid down, all while bonding our capital projects. Debt exclusion was passed on November 19th of 2020 for the police station, DPW facility, senior center, and seawalls. Because of our conservative plan of debt management and uniform annual payments, we have minimized our tax impact and will see the benefits of our conservative plan now and in the future. And you'll see total inside debt limit, $3,079,828.94. Total outside debt limit, $5,896,919.20. And other short-term band is $100,000. Next slide, please. This is another graphic chart which shows the progression of debt management with inside debt and outside debt. Next page, please. Thank you. FY 2025 general government, total general government number is $3,784,316. The general government has reduced discretionary spending and IT costs due to the purchase of Munis. Although with that, we've had our challenges. That was one of the impetuses which caused us to have some difficulty in closing out fiscal '23 and getting free cash certified. And that is, we had antiquated software that we were using. We've got Munis in place and in using that, but Munis wasn't able to pull through. The old software wasn't able to get the data through the other side, so it took an enormous amount of work for the treasurer, for our consultant, for CLA to get that to work, and they finally can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Built in is a 2% projected contractual increase to the salary line items for union and bylaw employees. Town began converting the financials to Munis on December 1st, 2022. The conversation had had its challenges, especially with being able to pull financial data in from the old software. Munis won't be completed until FY '26. Total for general government, $3,784,316, an increase of $376,704, or 11.5% over FY '24. And you'll see there's a little pie chart down at the bottom there. Next page. FY '25 public safety. Town continues to promote and provide funding for public safety personnel, including funding for school resource officers at the high school, Furnace Brook, and elementary school. As folks know, we had a grant to do that, and it was a previous select board voted that when the grant ran out, we would continue to fund the resource officers, and that is built into this budget. The schools do contribute for the resource officer at the high school. They pay 9 months, we pay 3 months, and then we fund the resource officer at the middle school and the resource officer that takes care of the elementary schools. FY '25 budget increase for public safety, 4.12%. ARPA funds have been allocated to purchase 2 ambulances and a fire truck. The fire department will be utilizing a grant to purchase an off-road fire truck. The police and fire departments continue to receive support through capital budget process to purchase safety equipment and police vehicles. Public safety increased $589,693, or 4.12%. Next slide, please. FY 2025 education. School department will receive a full 3% on their operational budget over FY '24 for a total project budget of $57,452,307, or a 3% increase. The schools have worked to improve handicapped accessibility and increase security for all of our schools. School department opened their new pre-K facility at 255 Furnace Street in September, and it's near capacity. Capital budget funding and free cash have continued to assist the schools in maintenance, IT, and security-related issues. Next slide, please. Public Works. The town continues to support our Public Works Department to provide the best services to our citizens. Public Works Division will see a 2.83% increase overall. For FY '25, we have worked with the Superintendent of Public Works to reposition resources to provide additional funding for maintenance of the fleet. We continue to support and maintain the ball field and parks account, keeping our fields and play spaces in the best possible shape that our community and sports teams deserve. Public Works also receives support for their capital needs through the capital budget process for general fund and through retained earnings for wastewater, water, and solid waste. The Select Board gave the DPW $4 million of the county ARPA funds for 2 projects, $1.7 million for Surf Ave and $2.3 million for Plymouth Ave Pump Station. Total commitment to the general fund Public Works, $3,301,699, an increase of $90,914, or 2.83%. Next slide. Health and Human Services for 2025. The town has provided additional Council on Aging funding for goods and services, allowing our senior population to be active in education and social activities. Created a revolving fund for the Seaflower Cafe at the Senior Center. Certainly, if any residents are listening and they're looking for a place to have breakfast and lunch, that's a great place to go. Increased funding for the Board of Health agent and continue to fund one part-time nurse to keep the town healthy during the aftermath of COVID and CRV. Total Health and Human Services budget increased by $6,608, a 0.43%. Next slide, please. Cultural Services for fiscal '25. Library has taken on the task of increasing services by opening on Sunday to allow greater access to the library. Resources during the weekend include a book drop-off and pickup program, public Wi-Fi, and many cultural programs for students and the general public. Library rug was replaced during the winter of 2023, a great improvement for our residents. The town continues to support our library and fund other cultural services, including Clam Flats, Veteran Memorial, and Historic Commission efforts. These cultural services benefit us all. Total commitment to our library and cultural services is $1,645,564, or an increase of $26,026, or 1.61% for FY '25. Next slide, please. Utilities. Town of Marshfield is committed to going green with a very aggressive investment in photovoltaics, battery storage, charging stations, electric vehicles, LED lighting, and building enhancements. The town will be receiving additional energy credits with most recent power purchase agreement, as well as placing a solar array field on our cap landfill, photovoltaics on municipal buildings and carports, and parking lots, including schools, police, council on aging, and DPW. We will be adding electric charging stations at the police station, council on aging, DPW facilities to eliminate a single point failure, and battery storage to hold photovoltaics. The town implemented aggregate electric with the approval from the Mass Department of Public Utilities in FY '23. We have invested in LED lighting for the school buildings and the fire station, boiler replacement at the central fire station, and Furnace Brook Middle School with Green Community Grant funding. The utility budget covers all town building costs for heat, electricity, and communication. The current funding level is $704,447, an increase of $215,886, or 44.19% increase, with the expectation that this will be decreased by energy credit offsets. Next chart is revenue. If you look under the column that says FY '25, you'll see where the revenue comes from. You'll see the increase in the base tax levy added with the 2.5% increase with the new growth. I want to thank Anne Marie Sennett for being out in the field and capturing as much new growth as possible, because it adds to the revenue for us to be able to provide the services. We have a levy limit then of $77,113,838, and we have the $5,896,919 worth of debt exclusion for Furnace Brook and Marshfield High School debt and others. And then we have the maximum total allowable levy, $83,010,758. And you add in the state aid, $18,657,095, less the offset of $50,000. So you'll have $18,607,095 when you take off the $50,000. You'll see local receipts are at $10,952,788. What are those local receipts? And you'll see they're listed right down there. Community impact fee, waterways, wetland protection, licensing and keeping of dogs, cemetery perpetual care enterprise, indirect solar panels, council on aging state grant, council on aging grant reimbursement, and that will give you, so in total, the revenue is available $115,926,854, which is $4,257,897 over fiscal '24 at 3.81%. Expenses very similar. You'll look at the FY '25 request column, shows you how much is requested for each of the breakdowns that I just went through. School department money, debt services, pension, unemployment, facilities, snow and ice. Snow and ice is one of the things that we set at 400,000, but that you could always spend beyond that, as folks know. Other expenses, reserve fund, overlay, state and county assessment, town meeting appropriation. So that totals to 115,926,854, which is a 3.29% increase, but it shows that the balance is budget because we have the expenses and the revenues equal one another. Closing summary. FY 2025 budget as presented is balanced. Tax rate was reduced to $10.39 per thousand. The schools received a 3% increase in their FY '25 budget. School resource officers will be funded through the general fund for Marshfield High School, Furnace Brook, and elementary schools. General government budget has increased by 11.05%. Town hall elevator continues creating better access for our citizens who struggle with mobility issues, along with our newly renovated bathrooms. We continue to fund one part-time nurse for the Board of Health. We're continuing to fund full-time assistant planner, assistant conservation agent to manage the very large caseload demands of those departments. We have funded COLAs and contracts without free cash usage. We continue to cost share with the schools for human resources. We have increased public safety funding by $589,693 for fire and police to ensure our residents are safe and secure. We've continued to fund the ball field account and provide DPW with flexibility to manage overtime. FY '25 budget will fund Robert Egan, who serves as the town's weights and measure consultant responsible for making sure all of our scales in town businesses are fair and accurate. The new DPW building capital project is complete. The new police station capital project is complete. Senior center's done. Seawall, Brent Rock 1 and 2 are done. And fire and ambulance supplies will be funded by the general fund. We will continue to look for ways to reduce cost on these projects as we move forward. DPW is investing in repairs and upgrades in our water and sewer infrastructure, with $4 million in ARPA funding being used for Surf Ave and Plymouth Ave. Dog Park opened in June of 2023, is being enjoyed by many of our four-legged friends, thanks to the Stanton Foundation, the CPC Fund, Friends of the Marshfield Dog Park, and support of the Select Board. Modernization of Town Hall is underway with 6 new bathrooms, which are complete, a new chamber, which we're sitting in, town administrators' offices, repositioning and upgrades to other offices, including veterans, building, IT, town clerk, just to name a few. These improvements were funded with no additional cost to the taxpayers by using the unspent capital money from the senior center project. Finally, we continue to make up ground on the maintenance of our public buildings, thanks to the great work of our facility department, supported by town meeting, for funding from free cash in the amount of about $500,000 each year. So thank you. That is my budget presentation, and Sean and I are happy to answer whatever questions the board has.
Great. Thank you very much for your presentation. I'll just start off with a couple of questions, if I may, and I'm sure you guys might have questions yourself. We can maybe go back and forth a little, so going back and forth. So just so the town understands that we have an overall spending projection of 3.81, correct?
Overall spending, yes, the percentage, correct.
And the state figures are adding 2.5, so we've had, so if the overall is 3.81, then we've had some other increases that have offset the 2.5, which is below the spending, so it brings it up to 3.81. It's more of a statement, I understand. I was looking at some of the revenue projections, and it looks like we're counting on a lot of revenue from solar. If we go to the revenue page.
17.
Solar, basically 1.2? So it's a significant ramp up. How confident are you in those numbers?
Somewhat confident. I never want to say it's exact, because we don't know what can happen when this is put together, but as folks know, we have the carports up at the police station. Those are working. The carports are being installed at the DPW facility. We have charging stations, which are working at the police station. And we do have some revenue that comes in from another solar array. And we're working right now with the school department. We got a verbal, but we're gonna go back because I'd like an official vote. And that is, we'll be putting photovoltaics on top of the school buildings, carports, and I also mentioned battery storage at places around town, which will add to those revenues. The one project that will take the longest to do, that would be the cap landfill, which is how we started this, this journey about 5 years ago, and we were at the mercy of ISO New England. We've been working with Senator Markey. We've been working with Congressman Keating. We've been working with our state delegation to get ISO New England to, get us included, which they did last year. They got approval now. Of course, the next hurdle is, in order to be able to take all of that power that's being generated, 8.57 megahertz, they would have to revamp, and they're in the process, they'll have to revamp the Webster Street Power Station to be able to take in all that additional power. So, we're hoping to move as quickly, because in order for us to make money, the photovoltaic company Next Grid needs to make money, and they need to get things installed as quickly as possible.
So, all right, so we have a lot going on with solar. You feel fairly confident in that number. It is a big jump, and we hope for sunshine.
That's correct.
I did notice on page 5 that we have revenues going up 3.81%, with the total expense projection for FY '25, 150,926 and change. It has an increase of 3.29. So just doing simple math, 3.81 in, 3.29 out. It's a fairly close number there. When you start getting in large amounts, I think it might leave us around 600,000. So it's not a lot of wiggle room if things don't go quite as well. Do you feel pretty confident in that expenditure and revenue side to be that close?
Yes, I mean, I think we'll be all right. It's very hard to get it right. It's we employ, and I know the treasurer does, and I'll let him answer this also, but, we start putting the budget together, this summer, and, you look at the different indicators, you look at what the economics are, is the economy still good, is the market tanking, are house sales, interest rates up at 12 or 13%. So you look at all of those indicators of what's gonna bring in revenue and stuff like that. Our budgets are usually lean. We don't really build in a lot of excess. We do get free cash, and that's just from good management, good economy of scale. It depends what the market's like when you go out to buy the services. So we're confident that those numbers would work, barring a catastrophe. We don't have a crystal ball. God forbid there's a war or something like that. They may have dire effects on not just us, but everyone, including the Commonwealth. As folks know, the Commonwealth right now is juggling a $1 billion shortfall. The governor, a few weeks ago, did 9 seat cuts in her local cabinets. She didn't petition the legislature to cut local aid, so that's a good thing. So, I don't know, Sean, if you'd like to add anything.
Oh, sorry.
So the budget methodology is looking at pretty much.
Sure, will you just identify yourself? If you-
Sure, Sean Strobel, treasurer for the town of Marshfield, 50 Pine Hills Drive. The budget methodology is traditionally used on a 5-year average. Considering that we're wrestling with a pandemic, that has implications for not only those years when the pandemic was in full effect, but also with the current market and the trends, as the town administrator was touching upon. A very strong real estate market, as well as all the indicators from sales, whether it be vehicle sales or state sales tax, seem to be pretty strong. There hasn't seemed to be too much of a dip in the economy. So the local receipts seem to be pretty strong and trending in the upward direction. So in order to accommodate for those services that we have to provide the citizens here in this town, it's adding to the expense. So that's why you're seeing a 3.81% increase in the revenues, because I feel that based on all the indicators, the revenues are pretty strong, but also at the same time, we have an increase in expenses of 3.29%.
I'll go with one more, and then I'll turn it over. On page 8, and I think this is just for anyone that's watching in more than anything else. We have total inside debt, I get that operational, we have total outside debt, that's excluded. I think everyone understands those. It is great that it's gone down. I know it's going to go down, I think, for a few more years, but we're going to have some projects maybe coming up. The $100,000 other debt short-term,
That's a band, short-term borrowing.
and what is that used for?
You know, it could be any service. I don't, unless you know particularly what it's for.
Typically, bands, or the expense for a band is if we're going to finance a project, but we're not quite ready to pull the trigger on a bond. So there's going to be the interest cost that we're going to incur for that band period. So if we choose to band, let's say, for 12 months or 18 months, depending on the size of the borrowing, let's say it's a couple $1 million, we're looking at probably anywhere from $24,000 to $28,000 in closing costs and an additional $30,000 to $36,000 for interest that we might have to pay for either a 12-month period, or it could go up to as high as $50,000 if we're looking at an 18-month period for a ban.
Okay, thank you. The only reason, one of the reasons I was asking that, I did see in the expense ledger side an even $100,000 that was entitled to reserve fund. So it's going to be for bands, is what you think?
The reserve fund is different.
Yeah, the reserve fund is not part of the long-term debt.
No, oh, yes, of course. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's on the expense side. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. You started off with the solar question.
I did start
And I
with
had
this.
that same, so it's nice to see us budgeting in FY '25 and starting to see some sort of a revenue from that. So, good work on that. I also had a question in regard to state aid. And our town administrator just explained that our governor is staying pretty consistent with her planning with that. Can you just reiterate that and how that number comes into play for our town?
So traditionally, when we're looking at state aid, it increases about, on average, 2.5% year over year. So the governor has not signaled that she's cutting any local aid to any of the communities. So at this point in time, I think it's pretty safe to assume that we're going to receive that 2.5% increase. And the cherry sheets were just released last week, so all indications are there are increases that are coming to Marshfield's direction, so.
Exactly. Thank you for that. So the other, I just want to circle back to the ARPA funding, because this is something that we have benefited from, and we can all agree that there is an end to our ARPA funding. And currently, I understand that Surf Ave was at 1.7, you can correct me.
Yes, Surf Ave.
And 2.3 on Plymouth?
That is correct,
Ave?
4 million in totality.
So they're getting started, so that's something that we're working to finalize. And so with that being said, the ARPA did give us the ability to have another funding source. So as we go down this road and we don't have the crystal ball, how is that going to affect us on our capital budgets or any other things that may come up down the line?
Oh, yeah, well.
Pretty vague question, but I'm.
No, I mean, it's a good question, because it did give us like a shot in the arm to sort of energize, to be
Exactly.
able to do something. And the board saw the wherewithal that, you know, we needed to invest in our water infrastructure and sewer infrastructure, and that was a good jump start for the DPW. I don't see federal government doing something like that again. I think that we're gonna, in order to do those types of repairs, and, you know, in talking to the DPW, you know, we have a new superintendent, Sean Patterson, they wanna start, and they're working on Ashburton, you know, lining and replacing and fixing sewer pipes where they're at. So we're gonna have to fund that internally. There won't be any, you know, I don't see any additional funding coming from the feds once ARPA. And ARPA, not only did we fund that, but, you know, we funded a fire truck, we're funding 2 ambulances, and we put good use to the CARES Act before that on, you know, funding the clinic and grants to nonprofits and many other things. The MIH, we funded out of that also, and funded it out of ARPA.
Thank you for that. I think that's it on me at this point, so.
Thank you, yes. To put into context the financial shape of the town of Marshfield, just a ballpark number, how many of our peer communities would you say did have to engage in layoffs and furloughs while the town of Marshfield did?
I would say, so in Plymouth County, maybe a half dozen or so.
Yeah. And then I know our tax rate was reduced to 1039 per thousand, and a few years ago, we were one of the lowest for neighboring and like communities. Where would you say that we rank today?
I would be simply guessing on that. I know Anne Marie was here. Anne Marie might be able to answer that, Mr. Darcy.
Hi, Anne Marie, Senate's Lane. We are probably one of the lowest. I don't have the exact information here, but I did do some research and send it to Mr. Maresco. There's probably 2 other communities that are right around where we are, and maybe I think there was 1 below us, but everybody else is definitely higher. And that's just because the values are going up because of the sales. We have to be with what the market's doing to meet DOR requirements. So the values are going up, and that's driving the tax rate down, so.
Thank you.
And then, Mr. Darcy, just to follow up on that, you know, that speaks volumes for what we're able to do here. So when you think that our tax rate's low, and you look at the services that we provide, the schools that we have, the condition of our property, the trails that we offer, the maintenance of those trails in our buildings, you get it's an incredible, it's why everyone wants to move into Marshfield. And that's not something that just happens. That starts with the select board on setting the policies and the other departments working and knowing what we're trying to achieve, and then having that plan and then going after it, and then, you know, attracting young families to come here, and, you know, making sure that our school is vibrant, and we offer all of those great activities for people who want to live here, you know, senior center, the police, Chief Tavares was here, we're the 4th safest community in the United States. Those are things I think that people look for when they want to relocate.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one final comment question. Henry, do you?
I actually found his emails.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
That kind of answers it.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Thank you.
It's okay. I trust Stephen. It was good, Stephen?
Yes.
I know it was pretty
But
low.
we're every one of those numbers.
What's it?
We want to know every one
One
of
of those numbers, yeah. The conclusion of the meeting. Just a quick question on public safety. I think we all want public safety, whether you have a heart attack and you need a fire, ambulance, accident, something like that. I did notice that public safety is being funded above the baseline average at 3.81%. And we also use a significant amount of opera money. I think we allocated for 2 ambulances and a fire truck this past year as well. So could you explain to the public what some of those drivers are that bring it up from 3.81 to 4.12?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So, first, easiest one we'll tackle first, the ambulance supplies, $186,000. Those used to be funded in capital, but they really are not a capital. Capital is 5-year life expectancy greater than $25,000. Cumulatively, it's greater than 25, but not individually. So those are funded in the budget, and the treasurer worked hard to get that number in there. This board was very supportive of the 3rd ambulance. You remember, after ARPA, we didn't have COVID, we just didn't have the wherewithal to run the 3rd ambulance 24/7, 365. So we had to cut back on that, and the board came to a consensus that we would fund the 3rd ambulance for 10 hours a day for 365 days a year. So that roughly is another $250,000. So those are some of the driving force. You know, we want to make sure that the ambulance is available for when we call the ambulance. And then police department, our police department's well on its way to being certified. and the board invested $250,000 into the certification of the police department. Once they're certified in the next year or so, then the next step would be accreditation, and that's, under post, those are the types of activities that you want your police department to do, and the chief and his leadership has done just that. I know that you've been into my office and you saw the chief did the book was about that thick, maybe almost a foot tall, 159 policies that are multiple pages. And I did ask the chief, I said, if you dropped that book on your foot, you would break your foot. I mean, how do the officers know that? And it's through, they have the muster. They muster before they start their shifts each time, 3 times a day, and the in-charge officer goes through a mini training session, and they'll take a policy and they'll talk about it. And you keep talking about it. Meanwhile, they all have access through their computers of all the policies. So those are some of the driving costs of public safety.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
No, sir.
Any further questions? No, well, I know we've all poured over it. Mine's got notes all over it. It's dog-eared and everything like that. So I thank you for both for the hard work you took in presenting this budget and putting it together. I'd like to make a motion the board moves to approve the FY25 budget as presented. And the FY25 budget will, as approved by the board, will be turned over to the advisory board as required by our charter by the fourth Monday of January. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne? Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the FY25 budget and turning over to the advisory board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as you can see, we're already ahead of the game because we've already done one.
Yes.
Okay, we've already done one, so we're already on 2, Steve.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, all right. And I just got to find where we are here. I know this is a one-day liquor license, I do know that. And here it is. This is a discussion vote of the application one-day liquor license for the North River Arts Society. Everything seems in order. They have done this before. Any questions, comments from my colleagues?
No, sir.
No.
No, if not, then I would like to make a motion the board moves to approve the indoor one-day wine and malt beverage license for Maureen Smith on behalf of the North River Arts Society located at 157 Old Main Street, Marshfield Hills, pending sign-offs to the Marshfield Police Department, Marshfield Fire Department, and providing a copy of the certificate of liability insurance naming the town as insured. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
A unanimous vote to approve the indoor one-day wine and malt license for the North River Art Society.
The next is item number...
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Ned is here for number 5.
All right, we'll go right to discussion and vote. Thank you. Stephen, you're always on the ball with this. Discussion and vote for an appointment on the Recreational Trails Committee. We have Ned here.
Yes, sir.
Ned, can you be brief?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm done, no. So we have an application from Joe Miller, and he contacted me earlier this year about interest in being on the Recreation Trails Committee. He was too busy at that point in time, got back in touch with me a couple months ago, came to one of our meetings, had a lot to offer, seems interested. The committee at that time supported his interest, and from that, he sent a letter to the Board of Selectmen. He would like to be as an alternate member. And if appointed, that would bring us up to 5 regular members, then 2 alternates, and we'd be at capacity. Yeah.
His resume is very interesting, you know, Mass College of Pharmacy, he was a trainer. I mean, he seems like a man with very diverse knowledge and education and likes outdoor activities, so.
Chose to be in Marshfield from Hanover, so, you know, that's not all bad.
I think he'd be a great fit, and I agree with you. Any comments from my peers? Hearing none, then I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to appoint Joseph Miller to the Recreational Trails Committee as an alternative member, and look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to appoint Joseph Miller to the Recreational Trails Committee as an alternate member.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your help.
Thanks, Ned, for taking the
Appreciate
time to
it.
come in, and I do appreciate it. You're always great at showing up for your team. Number 3 is discussion and vote on the request for permission to hold an ALS 1 polar plunge on Saturday, April 6, 2024. Section 3 in our packets here. This is the 9th annual ALS Polar Plunge. It's at Wrexham Beach. As we stated before, it's on April 6th. It is going to be cold, I'm sure. This has raised $363,000 over the last few years, so it's a really great cause, and it seems like a lot of people have a lot of fun. I don't think I want to be jumping in the water, but other people do. Any comments?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. Then, without any further comments, I would like to make a motion the board moves to approve the 9th annual ALS 1 polar plunge at Wrexham Beach on Saturday, April 6th, 2024, with registration beginning at 12 noon, with the plunge taking place at 1 p.m., with anticipated completion at 2:30. The restrooms will be open at the beach for the polar plunge, pending sign-off from Marshfield Police Department, Beaches, and Marshfield Fire Department. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the 9th annual ALS 1 polar plunge, Wrexham Beach on Saturday, April 6, 2024, and bathrooms will be open.
All right, number 4, discussion and vote for the request for permission to hold a run. We do a lot of runs to the Rock Road Races on Saturday, September 7th, 2024. I looked at this, a bunch of different pathways. They can do a 5K, 10K, half marathon. It looks like they've signed everything off. Everything looks good with all the different, they've got the police, they've got the fire. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Hearing none, then I'd like to make a motion the board moves to approve the South Shore Race Management Run to 5 Rock K, 10K half marathon race to take place on Saturday, September 7th, 2024, beginning at 8 a.m. with the start and ending at Brant Rock. There will be volunteers, the course, marking all along the course throughout the route, including water stops. Police details will be arranged, along with the necessary EMTs by the race organizers with our police and fire departments. The Marshfield Fire Department is requesting a 2-person mobile detail that will follow the course and remain until all the runners are off the course, pending sign-off of the Marshfield Police Department and Marshfield Fire Department. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the South Shore Race Management Run to the Rock 5K, 10K, and half a marathon for Saturday, September 7th, 2024.
Number 6 is discussion and vote for the request for permission to waive fees relative to the dam removal at Veterans Park, 2020 Ocean Street and 25 Main Street, zoning board of appeals. This is a great initiative, opening up the dams that we have going on in the Commonwealth. We're letting our herring go back up, our fish go back up. So it goes all the way down the food chain. Unless someone has a comment or objection, I'd like to make a motion that the board moves to waive the zoning board appeals fee for the dam removal project at Veterans Park that will restore the passage of multiple fish species identified in the local, state, and federal watershed located at 2020 Ocean Street and 25 Main Street. The project will be on the ZBA agenda for February 13th meeting. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Board unanimously approves the waiver of the fee for the dam removal project at Veterans Park.
Number 7 is discussion and vote on the request for permission to utilize Marshfield as a weigh-in point for the 3rd Annual Northeast Bluefin Showdown Tournament, which is June 26th, 2024 to June 30th, 2024. This is I think Marshfield's going to be joining Portland as an alternate weigh-in. This is just for the public to know. It's going to be kind of a fun event, and Marshfield will now be part of it. Any comments from my peers? Hearing,
Headquartered in Newburyport.
yes, it is headquartered.
We should make it, no, that's it.
Okay, she really did not have any comments.
I really didn't. I was like, oh, nice.
So I would like to make a motion that the board moves to approve the Marshfield as a weigh-in point for the 3rd Annual Northeast Bluefin Showdown Tournament on June 22nd, Stephen, at 2024 through June 30th, 2024. Marshfield will be joining Portland, Maine as the other alternative weigh-in, and the event is headquartered in,
Newburyport.
thank you very much, look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the weigh-in point for the 3rd Annual Northeast Bluefin Showdown on June 26, 2024 through June 30th, 2024. Mike DeMayo, our harbor master, will be very happy.
Yes, he will. So the next is a discussion vote on the appointment of 11 Marshfield residents to the Age-Friendly Steering Committee. And there are following residents that have agreed to serve on this. There's 11. I don't know how we found 11 people to serve on a new committee.
It was challenging. Carol had a challenging.
twist some arms. Should I read the names here?
If you'd like, and then if you'd like, Mr. Chairman, I can give just what this
Yeah,
committee's
why
gonna do.
don't you just give a quick overview
Sure.
for that, so the residents understand a little more in detail the
Absolutely.
age-friendly steering committee?
So what the age-friendly committee will do is they will look at ways of taking down some of the barriers for people that have mobility issues, people that have dementia-related issues, and you work with all facets of government, how you make that easier, how you have people to recognize that someone has dementia or understanding, or that they're slow, things that you look for. People are trained. A while ago, a couple of years ago, we trained a lot of the employees throughout town government to recognize individuals that possess some of these issues and that they need some greater assistance. This committee will work with Carol, with the Commonwealth, to develop policies that will be implemented to make it easier. And as the community grows, then we use these policies to make it easier, safer for these people to live and recreate in our town.
Great.
That's very interesting from a macro population perspective. Marshfield is in an aging phase of that bell-shaped curve and probably will be for another 15 years or so. So this will be a great assistance to those citizens. We have number 1, Ned Bangs. Number 2, Dave Cheney. Cheney, am I pronouncing that right? Are you going to help me with this? It's going to be straight Cheney. Marlene Comerford, Greg Guimon, Joanne LaFerrara. I got that. Yes, I got Officer Jason Lucetti. I have Michael Maresco. I have Fred Monaco. I have Nancy Mazziello. Mazziello. Oh, wait there. Okay. Bonnie Owens and Christopher White. And I want to thank them all for joining this new steering committee. Any questions, concerns from my peers? Hearing and seeing none, the board moves to approve and appoint the aforementioned 11 people to the Council of Aging Committee. And we will approve and appoint Carol Hamilton as the Aging Director. I'll look for a second.
Second.
A motion made and duly second, a roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the 11 members to the Age-Friendly Committee.
Okay, number 9. Number 9, vote on a request for permission to declare 20 chairs as surplus from the Select Board office. There are pictures. I don't know if you had the time to see them, Stephen.
Yes.
I think there's multiple chairs here. If you look at them, it's like every other time we do this, I always enjoy it. They're like they've been around for like 200 years before they get to this point.
Probably about 50, maybe not 200.
So I'm always entertained by these pictures, but hearing any no objections that we accept these chairs as surplus. Hearing none, then I'd like to make a motion the board declare 20 chairs as surplus for destruction or donation to a nonprofit organization. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly second, a roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to declare the 20 chairs surplus for destruction or donation to a nonprofit.
I also would like to make a motion that the board moves to approve the meeting minutes from January 22nd, 2024, without objection from my peers. Look for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly second, a roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the meeting minutes for January 22nd, 2024.
Seeing no further business, the board is going to move to go into executive session to discuss the strategy with respect to the collective bargaining that, if conducted in open session, may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town and not return to public session. Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Second?
Motion been made and duly second, a roll call is in order. Mr. Kilcoyne.
Aye.
Ms. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Darcy.
Aye.
Unanimous vote to go into executive session, not to return to public session.
Into executive, not to return to public.
Yep. I gotta do one, I gotta do one quick